It was just supposed to be a good day. Nothing more, nothing less. Jayden Cross, 18, had been dreaming about this morning for the past 4 years. A first-generation college student, accepted into Dawson University, one of the most prestigious private institutions in the state of Georgia. It was freshman orientation day, a symbol of everything he and his family had fought for. He was driving a deep blue Tesla Model 3, a graduation gift from his father. The air smelled like promise, hope, and a little too much pine-scented car freshener. Jayden had dressed sharp, clean white tee, designer jeans, subtle gold chain tucked under his shirt, nothing over the top. Just enough to say, I respect myself. The road was calm, not much traffic. He tapped lightly on the steering wheel, vibing to an old Kendrick Lamar song, All Right. We gon' be all right. And then the flashing red and blue lights. Out of nowhere, from behind, Jayden's heart skipped. He didn't even realize he had crossed into Covendale County. And now, he was being pulled over on Route 19, just 2 miles from the campus. What did I do? Speeding? No. Broken light? Impossible. It's a Tesla. He exhaled slowly and pulled over to the shoulder, just like he had been taught. Hands on the wheel. Don't reach. Don't argue. Yes, sir. No, sir. From the rearview mirror, he saw the cop approaching. White male. Mid-40s. Stocky build. Aviator sunglasses. Buzz cut. The type you recognize even from Hollywood movies. Officer Raymond Mallory. Covendale PD. Known in local circles as the Enforcer. His reputation? Harsh. Aggressive. And when it came to race, let's just say his record wasn't clean. Mallory walked up with a certain arrogance. The kind of swagger born from unchecked authority. He didn't greet Jayden. Didn't ask how he was. Didn't explain the stop. License and registration, he demanded, tapping the window hard with the butt of his flashlight, even though it was 10:43 a.m. and the sun was blazing. Jayden nodded politely. Yes, sir. I'm reaching slowly for my wallet, back pocket. He moved with exaggerated slowness, knowing exactly how fragile the situation was. Mallory's eyes narrowed. Where you headed? Orientation. Dawson University. The officer leaned on the window. Dawson? Huh? Fancy car for a freshman. Is this your vehicle? It's registered to my dad. Mallory smirked. Of course it is. Jayden handed over the documents. Mallory glanced down at the license, then squinted at the address. Ridgeview Hills. One of the most exclusive zip codes in Georgia. You live there? He asked, like it was impossible. Yes, sir. With my parents. The officer didn't respond. Instead, he walked back to his cruiser with the papers. Jayden watched through the mirror. He could see the guy typing something into the system, radioing dispatch. But the vibe wasn't just checking. It was something more. Paranoia? Suspicion? 10 minutes passed. Then 15. Mallory returned, this time more aggressive. Step out of the vehicle. Jayden blinked. Sir. I said step out. Now. Jayden complied. Calm. Collected. Hands visible at all times. Put your hands on the hood. His palms touched the hot metal. The car hummed quietly. Is there anything in this vehicle I should know about? Mallory asked. No, sir. Nothing illegal. You smoke weed, son? Jayden turned his head slightly. No, sir. You sure about that? The officer didn't wait. He opened the passenger door and began rifling through the car. No probable cause. No explanation. Just assumption. Jayden stood still, burning inside, but not showing it. He could have said something. He could have mentioned who his father was. He could have ended this entire nightmare in a single sentence. But he didn't. Not yet. Because part of him wanted to see how far this would go. Mallory searched every crevice of the Tesla. The glove compartment. The center console. Even beneath the floor mat. Nothing. No drugs. No weapons. No stolen goods. Just a school acceptance folder, 2 water bottles, and an unopened bag of trail mix. Finally, the officer stepped back. Mind explaining how your dad can afford this car? Jayden looked him dead in the eye. I don't think that's any of your business, sir. Mallory tensed. You getting smart with me? No, sir. Just trying to get to school. People don't just walk into Ridgeview and buy Teslas unless they're doing something shady. Especially not kids like you. Jayden clenched his jaw. Kids like me? Sir, am I being detained? That question froze the cop for a second. Then, don't play lawyer with me. You're lucky I don't take you in for resisting. Jayden looked him straight in the face. Do it then. The air was thick. The sun beat down. Mallory stared at him for a long second, his fingers twitching near his belt. Then, a black Cadillac Escalade turned off the highway and pulled up behind the patrol car. Tinted windows. Government plates. Mallory glanced back, confused. The driver's door opened. A tall man in a tailored gray suit stepped out. Dark-skinned. Late 40s. Powerful presence. And Jayden smiled for the first time. That's my father. The silence was brutal. Officer Mallory watched as the Escalade's rear door swung open with a smooth mechanical hiss. Out stepped Congressman Elijah Cross, a man whose name echoed through every major political circle in the South. A former federal prosecutor. Decorated Marine. Now one of the most respected African-American lawmakers in the state. And more importantly, Jayden's father. Mallory didn't recognize him immediately, not in person. But the second Elijah began walking, it hit like a slap. That posture. That stare. That power. Mallory stiffened, unconsciously straightening his belt. He instinctively took off his sunglasses, the way you would when a superior officer walked in the room. Jayden didn't say a word. He just stepped back as his father moved in like a storm. "Officer," Elijah said. "Is there a problem here?" His tone was ice. Mallory cleared his throat. "Just a routine stop, sir. Everything's under control." Elijah didn't blink. "Routine?" He looked at Jayden. "How long were you standing outside the car, son?" Jayden checked his phone. 17 minutes. Elijah turned back to the officer. 17 minutes. In 94-degree heat. While you tore through my son's vehicle without consent or probable cause. Mallory tried to recover. There was suspicion of... Of what? Elijah snapped. Of him being a young black man in a clean car? Driving through the wrong zip code? The congressman's voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. His words cut like blades. "Let me make this very clear," he continued. "You pulled over my son, unlawfully searched his property, verbally harassed him, and implied criminal behavior based on nothing but skin color. Sir, with all due respect, I didn't know who he was." "Exactly." Elijah's eyes flared. "That's the problem, isn't it? You didn't know who his father was. You thought he was nobody. Just another kid with melanin you could intimidate." Mallory opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Just shame, regret, and fear. Jayden stepped forward, voice steady. He asked if I smoked weed. He asked how we could afford the car. He said kids like me don't belong in Ridgeview. Elijah's jaw tightened. Did he now? A long silence stretched across the highway. Cars rushed by in the distance. The only sound near them was the hum of the Tesla and the slow tick of Mallory's nervous breathing. Then Elijah pulled out his phone. "I want your badge number, your full name, and your supervisor's contact. Right now. Sir, please." "Now." Mallory recited the information like a student facing the principal. Elijah typed everything down. Then, without another word, he turned to Jayden. "Get in the Escalade." Jayden nodded. He didn't look at Mallory again. But Elijah did. "You're going to hear from the Civilian Review Board. You're going to hear from the DA. And if I find even a single prior complaint about racial profiling in your record, I promise you, your badge won't survive the week." Mallory looked like he'd been punched. As the Escalade pulled away, Jayden glanced back. The cop just stood there, still holding his sunglasses in one hand, his composure shattered. But for Jayden, the ride wasn't over. Not even close. Police car light inside the SUV, the real conversation begins. Jayden sat quietly, the AC blowing cool air across his face. He stared ahead, trying to process what just happened. His father didn't speak for several minutes. The silence wasn't anger, it was calculation. Elijah was thinking. Strategizing. Finally, he broke it. "Why didn't you call me the moment it happened?" Jayden sighed. "I wanted to see how far he'd take it." Elijah looked at his son. "That could have gone a very different direction." "I know." Elijah gripped the steering wheel. His knuckles turned white. "That man saw a young black kid and assumed the worst. He saw your skin before he saw your humanity." Jayden nodded. "It's not the first time. Won't be the last." His father let out a slow, bitter laugh. "You're right. But it will be the last time someone like him gets away with it in this county." They rode in silence again. Then Elijah asked, "You okay?" Jayden swallowed hard. "I don't know. I thought I was. But when he told me to step out, when he searched my stuff like I was trash..." His voice cracked. Elijah reached over and put a hand on his son's shoulder. "You are not trash. You are a cross. You are my son. And you're going to walk into Dawson University like you own the damn place." Jayden nodded slowly. "But first," Elijah said, "we're going to the dean's office." "Why?" Elijah smirked. Because I want the entire university to know what happened before you even step foot in a classroom. And trust me, Jay, you're not the only black student who's been stopped in Covendale. You want to go public? Not just public, Elijah said, eyes blazing. I want to start a movement. The sun was setting when the black escalade pulled up to Dawson University, the elite southern campus famous for its ivy-covered walls, marble statues, and very white, very old money history. Jayden stared out the window at the wrought iron gates. This was supposed to be a fresh start, new life, new independence. But now? He felt like he was walking into a storm that started before he was even born. And the storm was just warming up. Elijah parked, turned off the engine, and looked over. You don't have to do this, Jay. Jayden looked at him, surprised. You said we were going to the dean. We are. But I need you to want this. This fight isn't just about you. It's about everyone who came before and everyone coming after. Jayden exhaled. Let's go. Graduation capped the dean's office. Dean Harold Bellington III looked exactly how you'd imagine. White hair, tortoiseshell glasses, and a Yale ring so polished it could blind you in the sun. When Elijah and Jayden stepped into his wood-paneled office, the dean stood, a tight smile on his face. Congressman Cross. This is unexpected. So is the unlawful stop your city's police department just put my son through. Bellington blinked. I'm not sure I follow. Don't play dumb, Elijah said, sitting without being asked. Officer Mallory. Badge 0721. Pulled over my son. Searched his vehicle. Racially profiled him. We have time-stamped video, dash cam footage, and a witness statement. Jayden sat beside him, silent but seething. The dean cleared his throat. I'm sure this was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, Elijah repeated, his voice dripping acid. Jayden was humiliated on the side of Highway 9. Do you understand what that does to a young black man's spirit on his first day of college? Congressman, save it. I'm not asking for your sympathy, Harold. I'm giving you a heads up. This goes to the media tonight. Dean Bellington froze. The media? Yes, Elijah said. And I'm not going on MSNBC. I'm going local. Dawson News 7. Channel 8. College Insider. And I've already spoken to the Root and the Intercept. He leaned forward. So you can either be a part of the solution or get steamrolled by it. Mobile phone with arrow, the story goes public. By midnight, Jayden's story was trending. Clips of Elijah's confrontation with Officer Mallory, recorded secretly by a bystander, were shared across TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. And something else started to emerge. More students began speaking out. I was stopped by the same cop last semester. He asked if I stole my car. They searched my dorm room randomly 3 times. Campus security follows me when I walk to the engineering building. Jayden sat in his dorm room, stunned, as post after post came out. Faces like his. Stories like his. It wasn't just him. It had never been just him. Firecracker City Hall in panic mode. By morning, the mayor of Covendale was already on the phone with Elijah. Please, Elijah, let's not escalate this. We'll suspend the officer. Internal review. Full transparency. It's already escalated, Elijah said coldly. Your cop didn't stop a nobody. He stopped my son. And now the whole country knows it. We can issue a statement. You'll issue policy changes. You'll issue funding for diversity training, community oversight, and independent audits. And Mallory? He's done. Period. The mayor swallowed hard. You're serious. Deadly. School on campus. Jayden's reputation explodes. At Dawson University, Jayden couldn't walk across campus without being recognized. Hey, you're Jayden, right? I saw the video, man. That was insane. Thank you for standing up. For all of us. Students of color rallied around him. White students, too. Allies. Activists. Reporters. Professors. But not everyone was supportive. Some looked at him with tight jaws. Whispers in classrooms. Eye rolls in cafeterias. Why is he making it about race? It's not like the cops shot him. His dad's a congressman. What's he complaining about? Jayden tried to ignore it. But inside, he felt the pressure building. He didn't ask for this. He didn't want to be a symbol. But now he was. Mom, Officer Mallory's response. On day 3, Officer Mallory released a statement through his lawyer. At no point did I intend to discriminate against Mr. Cross. The stop was based on legitimate suspicion regarding an out-of-state vehicle in a high-crime area. I followed protocol. The backlash was instant. Jayden read the statement on his phone. He nearly threw it across the room. Legitimate suspicion? That's the same language they always use. Elijah called him within minutes. Let it ride, he said. Let them hang themselves with their own rope. Mallory just admitted he racially profiled you. He just called your presence suspicious without any cause. I want to speak out, Jayden said. For real. Not just social media. Not through you. Me. My voice. There was a pause on the line. Then you will, Elijah said finally. And when you do, I'll be sitting in the front row. Studio microphone Jayden takes the stage. 3 days later, at a student-led forum called Justice and Identity, Jayden stood on stage in front of hundreds. His heart pounded, palms sweating, cameras flashing. He stepped to the mic. 3 days ago, I was pulled over because of the color of my skin. Not because I broke a law. Not because I posed a threat. But because I existed in a space where someone thought I didn't belong. And what's worse, this isn't rare. This isn't new. This is normal, and it shouldn't be. He paused, scanning the room. My name is Jayden Cross. I am more than a traffic stop. I am more than someone's fear. I am not lucky that my father's a congressman. I'm angry that it took that to be treated like a human being. We deserve better. And we're going to demand it. Thunderous applause. The movement had begun. Jayden couldn't sleep. The weight of 1,000 cameras, voices, and expectations pressed down on his chest like a brick. His dorm room had become both sanctuary and prison, emails piling up, DMs from strangers, invites to podcasts, radio shows, even Good Morning America. And then came the threats. Not just anonymous messages in his inbox. Letters. Slipped under his door. Keep your mouth shut, rich boy. Your daddy can't save you forever. We know where your room is. He didn't tell Elijah. Not yet. His father was already fighting a political war. Jayden didn't want to add gasoline to the flames. But something inside him was shifting. The fear wasn't making him smaller. It was making him louder. Oncoming police car behind closed doors, Mallory under fire. Back at the Covendale Police Department, Officer Mallory sat in a silent conference room with his union rep and police chief Karen Moritz. She wasn't smiling. You lied to us, she said coldly. You didn't mention the congressman connection. I didn't know. That's the problem. You didn't know, but you still treated that young man like a criminal. And now we're drowning in lawsuits, media hellfire, and public distrust. Mallory shifted in his chair. I followed protocol. The chief slammed a folder on the table. Protocol doesn't include searching a clean car without probable cause. Protocol doesn't include turning off your body cam for 47 seconds. We have footage, Mallory. You thought you were slick. His lawyer leaned in. We're not admitting guilt. The chief stared at him. You're already guilty. The question is whether we sacrifice you or the whole department. Firecracker, the national spotlight explodes. By Friday, Jayden's speech had hit 5.2 million views on YouTube. Clips of his line, I am not lucky my dad is a congressman. I'm angry it took that to be treated like a human being, had become a rallying cry. CNN, MSNBC, BET, even Fox News picked it up. Some networks called him a brave young activist. Others? A spoiled race baiter. Talk shows debated him. Commentators dissected every facial expression from the footage of the traffic stop. Social media split into factions. Hashtag Stand with Jayden. Hashtag Blue Lives Matter. Hashtag Dawson Divide. Even celebrities weighed in. LeBron James tweeted, "This is bigger than basketball. Proud of Jayden Cross for speaking truth to power. Raise fist dark-skin own." The movement had become a firestorm. Brick cracks in the family armor. Jayden sat across from Elijah in a quiet corner of a cafe near campus. For once, no cameras. No reporters. Just father and son, two black men in America, navigating a world on fire. They're calling you the next John Lewis, Elijah said with a smile. Jayden didn't return it. I didn't ask for any of this. Neither did he. Jayden leaned back, rubbing his temples. You know what scares me? The fact that if you weren't you, I'd be rotting in a jail cell right now. Or worse. That cop looked at me and didn't see a student. He saw a threat. And that's exactly why you're needed. Jayden shook his head. I'm not a leader, Dad. I'm just a freshman trying to study graphic design and survive dorm food. Elijah reached across the table. You don't choose the moment, Jay. The moment chooses you. Detective medium dark-skinned on the investigation takes a turn. The Internal Affairs Division released a preliminary report. The findings were damning. Officer Mallory violated procedure. Search was unjustified. Body cam tampering confirmed. Patterns of racial bias uncovered in past stops. Elijah took the report and handed it directly to a CNN producer. Run this. Top of the hour. The DA's office launched a formal investigation. Mallory was suspended without pay pending criminal charges. The city issued a public apology. But Jayden wasn't celebrating. He looked at the headlines, the apologies, the hashtags, and still felt hollow. Because one apology wouldn't erase the trauma. One fired officer wouldn't dismantle a system. Fire the university cracks under pressure. Dawson University couldn't ignore the spotlight any longer. Protests erupted on campus. Students marched, demanded reform, called for a racial equity board, more scholarships for black students, and training for campus police. Jayden tried to stay out of it. He hadn't slept in days. But when he opened his door on Monday morning and saw 300 students holding candles outside his dorm window, he knew he had no choice. Microphone the interview that changed everything. That night, Jayden sat under the lights of a CNN studio in Atlanta, across from anchor Danya Wells. Jayden, she asked softly, what do you want to say to Officer Mallory, if he's watching right now? Jayden looked straight into the camera. His voice didn't shake. I want you to know that I forgive you. Danya blinked. Jayden continued. Because forgiveness isn't weakness. It's clarity. It's saying, you don't get to own my rage. But make no mistake, I will not stop until the next black kid you pull over gets a chance to walk away without needing a congressman father to survive it. Decreasing the political fallout. Mayor Claiborne held a press conference trying to salvage his administration. This does not reflect the values of Covendale. We are committed to real change. But behind the scenes, campaign donors were backing out. Elijah's legal team had filed 2 federal civil rights lawsuits. The NAACP was preparing a class action. The city was crumbling, all because one cop thought a young black man driving a nice car was a criminal. One stop, one assumption, one storm they couldn't contain. But then a knock at Jayden's door. Late one night, 3 slow knocks echoed through Jayden's dorm. He opened the door and froze. It was Mallory, out of uniform, face sunken, unshaven, eyes bloodshot. I know I shouldn't be here, he said quietly. I just needed to tell you something. Face to face. Jayden didn't respond. I was wrong, Mallory whispered. I looked at you, and I saw a threat. And I don't even know why anymore. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For a long time, Jayden just stared at him. Then, finally, he spoke. You should go. Mallory nodded. Yeah, okay. But just before turning to leave, he looked back. You were right. You didn't deserve that. Jayden closed the door. No cameras. No tweets. No applause. Just silence. And healing that still had a long way to go. The courtroom was a war zone in a suit. National reporters, legal scholars, activists, students, and families filled every seat, some weeping, others stone-faced. It was the trial of the year. The People versus Officer Raymond Mallory. A criminal case that had grown far beyond a routine traffic stop. It was no longer about a single cop. It was about the system that made that cop feel invincible. Jayden sat in the front row, his father beside him, the weight of generations heavy on his back. Firecracker secrets unveiled, Mallory's racist history comes to light. The prosecution didn't waste time. They presented a bombshell, a pattern of racially biased stops by Mallory over the past 12 years. Young black drivers, Latino teenagers, a Muslim family, dozens of complaints. All dismissed. All investigated internally. This is not a one-time incident, the prosecutor thundered. This is a career built on profiling. They played a body cam clip from 2019. Mallory had pulled over a 16-year-old black kid for failure to signal. When the teen asked why, Mallory smirked and said, "Your kind always drives like they stole it." The courtroom gasped. Jayden clenched his fists. His jaw locked. His heartbeat pounded in his ears. He looked at Mallory, still stoic, still expressionless. Chart decreasing, the defense crumbles. Mallory's lawyer tried spinning the narrative. My client feared for his safety. The defendant was in a high-risk area, and the young man was driving erratically. But the traffic cam footage told a different story. Jayden's driving had been perfect. Legal. Calm. What had happened was not about safety. It was about assumptions, prejudice, and power abused. Bombed the cross-examination that shattered the lie. Then came the most explosive moment of the trial. Jayden took the stand. The courtroom fell silent. The prosecutor approached. Can you tell us, Jayden, how that night changed you? Jayden stared ahead. I stopped feeling safe in my skin, he said softly. Every time I get in a car now, I look over my shoulder. Every siren makes me flinch. And I hate that, because I didn't do anything wrong. He paused. He didn't pull over a criminal. He pulled over a kid. A black kid. And he made me feel like my life didn't matter. The jury watched him, frozen. A few had tears in their eyes. Mallory didn't look at him once. Statue of Liberty backlash and a nation divided. Outside the courthouse, protest raged on both sides of the street. Black Lives Matter flags. Back the blue signs. News vans. Police in riot gear. Chants. Drums. Rage. America was watching. Fox News called it a witch hunt on law enforcement. MSNBC called it the reckoning we've waited for. Jayden wasn't trying to be a hero, but the world had turned him into one. And with every headline, every photo of him walking into court in that tailored gray suit, every 10-second clip of him speaking truth to power, the pressure mounted. What if I mess up? What if they tear me apart? What if they never listen again? Bustin' silhouette a heart-to-heart with his father. One night, back at the hotel, Elijah sat with his son in silence. The TV was muted. The lights low. Do you regret going public? Elijah asked. Jayden thought for a long time. No, he finally said. I regret how tired I am. How lonely it feels. Elijah nodded. That's how change begins. With exhaustion. With someone willing to carry the weight that others are too afraid to lift. Jayden turned to him. Were you ever afraid, Dad? When you marched in Georgia? When you ran for office? Elijah exhaled. Every single day. But I kept going because I believed that if I stopped, someone else might never start. Jayden leaned forward. Then I guess I'll keep going too. DNA the twist no one saw coming. On the 5th day of the trial, the prosecution delivered its knockout punch. A leaked email from Officer Mallory. Sent 6 months before the stop. Our city's getting soft. These kids feel entitled. Especially the black ones. Time to remind them who runs the streets. The judge asked for silence. The jury's eyes widened. Mallory's lawyer buried his face in his hands. Even the bailiff looked stunned. Jayden couldn't believe it. They finally see him, he whispered. Candle vigil for the ones who never got justice. That night, Jayden stood in the quad of Dawson University. Thousands of students held candles. Each flame represented someone who hadn't been as lucky. Tamir Rice. Sandra Bland. Philando Castile. Breonna Taylor. Tyre Nichols. Jayden spoke without a microphone. His voice steady. They can't hear us anymore. But we can make sure they're never forgotten. This trial isn't just about me. It's about all of them. And the world we're going to build from the ashes of the one they stole. Scroll the jury deliberates. After 6 grueling days, the jury was sent to deliberate. Every news network cut into regular programming. Jayden waited. 3 hours. Then 6. Then 10. Finally, the courtroom doors creaked open. 12 jurors filed in. The foreman stood. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty on all counts. The word guilty echoed throughout the courtroom. Officer Raymond Mallory stood, motionless, as the charges were read. Guilty of abuse of power. Guilty of racial profiling. Guilty of assault under color of law. Jayden didn't smile. He didn't cry. He just breathed. Chain's sentencing day, a nation watches. 3 weeks later, the sentencing was live on every screen. Millions were watching. The streets, universities, even bars. Judge Marilyn Carter, a black woman from Detroit, didn't mince words. Mr. Mallory, your actions weren't just unlawful. They were a betrayal of your badge and your country. You didn't just stop a student. You tried to stop a future. The room was still. I hereby sentence you to 22 years in federal prison. The verdict was met with silence, then tears, then applause. Jayden sat still, but inside, he felt something shift. Not joy, resolution. Classical building Jayden's rise, from victim to voice. 2 months later, Jayden was invited to speak at a congressional committee on police reform. I'm not a martyr. I'm a student who survived, and I want justice for all those who didn't. His speech went viral. His message was simple. Justice is a right, not a privilege. Graduation capped the graduation that made history. Jayden graduated from Dawson University, and when his name was called, the crowd erupted. He raised his fist, not in anger, but in unity. Globe showing Europe, Africa, the aftermath. Mallory went to prison. His name became a symbol of corruption in law enforcement. Jayden's father, Elijah Cole, passed a police accountability bill, the Jayden Act. Jayden started an organization for mentoring youth of color, teaching them to fight back with knowledge. Duffy final scene. On a quiet rooftop in Atlanta, Jayden looked out at the city. His phone buzzed with calls, but he ignored them. "You tried to stop my future, Officer Mallory," he whispered. "But all you did was ignite it." And with that, he smiled for himself.